I feel memorized decks and stacked decks are definitely a rite of initiation for taking your Magic even farther and making it greater. It opens a window of opportunity that probably wasn't there before, and that can really amplify your Magic, not just for yourself, but for your spectators. In their eyes, you'll be much better. And it's not to say that stacks will do all the work for you. Believe me, there's still a lot of sleights that are involved, but it will definitely make things a lot easier and effective, especially. So when I say stacked decks and memorized decks, there is a difference. Yes, memorized decks are stacked decks, but stacked decks more so rely on a pattern and or a formula, to say the least. When I say stacked deck, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys assume Stebbins stack, and that is definitely a stacked deck. However, Stebbins is not exactly a memorized deck. It can definitely be one if you memorize every position, but for the most part, it's a stack, meaning that whenever you cut, it'll repeat. It's a cyclical stack, like a cycle. Think of it like that. So I actually have some books here that I want to introduce you to. A good thing is some of these books you already have. So if you ever want to take your Magic from good to great to even phenomenal, actually, memorized decks are definitely the way to go. Stacked decks are also good too, and I feel stacked decks are a great introduction to this field. So we can go look at some books on some stacked decks and some books on the specifically memorized decks. So, like I said, some of these books you actually may even have, which is even better, so you can basically whet your appetite and get an idea of what you'll be working with and how to work with them. The good thing is a lot of these books have more than just what I said in them, so even if you don't think you're going to use them, then the book itself will have a lot more content for you. So, starting out, a book we have here is The Expert at the Card Table. Yes, The Expert at the Card Table. Yes, I know I have the paperback book, but even then, the content in it is still great. So, another thing I should mention is some of the books that aren't here doesn't mean that they're bad, such as Pit Heartlings and Order of Maze. And there's other great books on, say, the Stebbins or other stacks. Now this one would go through the 8 Kings stack, which is a cyclical stack. It's under Tricks with the Pre-Written Decks, I believe. And it's really great. Just for the beginning topic of it will definitely get you interested and want to pursue more. And even if you don't use it, you have a really great book at your disposal. Another good book on not just some stack deck work, but is Scarney's Card Tricks. Scarney on Card Tricks. Now this is the old edition. If you have a newer one, lucky you, because this one's small and difficult, not difficult to read, but they really cram a lot in these pages. And you'll be learning a lot more applications you can use doing the Stebbins stack. Another book that's great on the Stebbins stack I have here is Magic with Cards by Frank Garcia and I forgot the guy's first name, but Schindler. Now, this is a hardback copy of it. I'm pretty sure it's more common to find the softback one. But you're going to learn some really great effects in here that utilize the Stebbins stack, actually. And I know that this did definitely help me. I thought Stebbins was just something to brush off, but after reading this, you realize the power and a lot of practicality, my bad, that the Stebbins has to offer. Another good book for that I don't have physically, but I do have it as an ebook, is an Encyclopedia of Card Tricks. In fact, I believe that and Expert are actually free PDFs, so to check these out, it's not going to cost you anything. And that actually will first introduce you, not first, but if the first book you get, will actually introduce you to a memorized deck, not a stacked deck. And you'll quickly see the advantages of a memorized deck over a stacked deck. Another book here is, and by the way, the order these are in is not to say that it's least to highest. It's just for reference, to say the least. It's Marlowe's Expert Card Techniques. Now, this is a monster of a book, and no, I'm anything but done reading it. However, under his Pharaoh and Pharaoh notes, you will learn the Marlowe stack. And this actually did pave the way for a lot of the definitely for Juan Tamariz's Mnemonica. Juan quotes this book and references his book so many times. And that's not why I got it, but the fact that it's in here is even better. So under Pharaoh Notes, you're going to learn Marlowe stack and a lot of great effects you can do it, such as Fingertip Miracle, which is a very good effect, and the Pharaoh Calculator. So under Pharaoh Notes and Ed Marlowe's Revolutionary Card Techniques, you can start with there. Now another book, and this is the and that was a card clip. Sorry if you had to hear that. That just fell. We have Bound to Please by Simon Aronson. Yes, the Aronson stack, which was the most popular stack, memorized deck stack in America. I believe that's changed now to the Tamari stack. But even then, this is a collection of Simon Aronson's work. You see the 4 books he has here. Actually, it's more like 5 books in here because it includes some things from magazines he's contributed to. And it's a great book. The good thing about this is even though it has a lot of stack work, it has a lot of non-stack works. So if you can get this book, I would definitely recommend it because this is a great way, and Simon Aronson provides some very great mnemonics on how to and go about memorizing a deck stack. Not only that, but you learn a lot of good features on his stack and some very good auto-includes that they have. So this is Bound Please by Simon Aronson. Very good. Another great book that I really don't hear talked about a lot is a 6-Hour Memorized Deck by Martin Joyal. Just the album, not the album, yes, this reminds me of the album cover of Queen. Just the book cover alone is very interesting. That's not why I bought it. Okay, maybe it's a little bit why I bought it. But the content of this is really great. Now, unlike the other books where they're just on effects, this is more about the history and more about these stacks besides just the effects. So it's very good to have just as a reference, and this you can get for very inexpensive as a PDF off Joy's website. So 6-Hour Memorized Deck, actually I'll admit, is the easiest stack to memorize as a memorized deck stack. Just without dedicating to it, I memorized over like 18 or 20 cards just by looking at the chart that's inside. It's an ingenious deck, believe me. However, I believe to get the most out of the stack definitely takes a lot more commitment. Not that this deck is bad, but for an introductory stack, and especially for all the not just historical, but all the references that are included in it, it's definitely worth taking a look into. Because Martin Joy has done a lot of research, and it's great to have all this research bound in this one book. So the contents here are really good enough on its own, and the fact that it provides the stack and a lot of good things you can do with the stack is great. I should also mention that this book, a lot of the effects in here can be done with any stack, whereas other stacks are dependent on those ones, and that sounds like a lot. Such as, let's say that I can only use an effect from Aragon stack only with his stack. Now, I know that sounds kind of obvious, but some stacks have built-in features, and the fact that nothing from here you can't do with other stacks is just great. So even if you don't plan on using this stack exactly, a lot of the effects you can get are really good to apply right away. Next is probably my favorite book on memorized decks is Juan Tamariz's Mnemonica. Now, I will be doing a review of this soon, so I definitely advise you to hang in there to see why it's so good. But this book, believe me, changed the game when it came to memorized decks. Before, memorized decks were definitely around, but definitely not as much until this book came out. And after reading a few pages, you'll exactly see why. This is, in my opinion, the best stack out there. However, it's the best stack for me, I should say. Not to say that forget all the other books and just go to this one. There's definitely great books out there, but to me, this is the best book on memorized decks. And Juan provides so many things besides just his stack, but a lot of good techniques besides that can be used in addition to not just stack decks, but any deck in general. You're getting so many slides and so many good, not just effects, but theories and how to go about them. So, very good book. Unfortunately, this is victim to a shortage right now, so I would highly advise you to wait until this gets reprinted so it's more affordable. Because believe me, the aftermarket prices this thing is fetching, you do not want to pay. I wouldn't even pay that, knowing how good this book is. Just wait for a reprint and then definitely check this out. We have 2 more books to go. I believe the first one was Template of Order by Patrick Redford, a really great book on the Redford stack. And Patrick Redford's writing style is also really good to mention, just like Juan Tamariz, I forgot to say, but like I said, I'll be doing a review on that soon. Very good book, and this is actually more of an extension of the Stebbins stack. So if you love the 7 stack and want to do a lot of good things with it, you can still do a lot of effects out of this book with just a 7 stack. And the way Redford can turn the 7 stack into his stack is very great, and definitely check that out. Because you're basically turning your 7 stack into a Swiss Army knife. I know that sounds kind of weird, but you basically turn the 7 stack into a whole bunch of other stacks thanks to Patrick Redford, and his book explains a lot of those. Not only that, but his stack does have a lot of great features built in, and definitely worth checking out. The last book we have here is Memorandum by Aragon. This is another great book that I would definitely recommend in addition to Mnemonica, but as a book and standalone by itself, it's still really great. So if you want to get Mnemonica but are still waiting for it to be reprinted, this is definitely the book to definitely hold you over until then. Because not only is this a great stack, the Aragon stack, but it can also transform into a Mnemonica stack with a little bit of a nuance, to say the least. But it's definitely not even like a nuance, it's just something you have to consider, and considering it is very easy. Now, I know you're probably saying, what's he talking about? But if you get this book, you know exactly what I mean. But Aragon also introduced a new stack that can be applied to every stack out there. So just that by itself, the Siamese stack, can be applied to any stack. It's pretty good and worth considering for all your other stack work. Now, I know I'm saying stack and memorize deck a lot, but that's what this video is about. So definitely check this book out. If you want to do Mnemonica, this is a great way to get you introduced to it and to the other great features that the Eragon stack has to offer. So I know that was quite a bit of knowledge to drop on you, I guess. But these are great starting points and good points to look into if you want to ever take your magic from good to great. So if you know of any other great books out there that I should have mentioned, then definitely comment down below. Or if you have any other questions about any of these books, or would like to see a review on them, I can definitely do that for you as well. I'll do my best to try to link all these in the description down below. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you hung in there for this whole entire time, I greatly appreciate that. So, as usual, like, subscribe, comment, I'd really appreciate that, and I'll see you guys next time.